Well, this sure does signal the end of the gardening season when I cut down the heads of the sunflowers. It was a very good crop, but it is at the end of the season. This is always a bittersweet time of the year. Here we are, almost mid-September, possibly just a couple weeks shy of getting the first frost. The tomatoes have their last ripenings on the vine. They've all had a severe haircut and they're looking very, very leggy. Pulled out all of the beets and the carrots. Down this row, we do have some new plantings of carrots. They're still rather small. I'm not sure I'll be able to get anything in the harvest. We do have some lush growth. These are parsnips. They kind of look like a white carrot. And we've got some more right over here, and these guys are at least 3 foot tall. So that's always good to see. There's still more harvest going on in the garden. Here's a basil plant. Here's a spindly looking row of tomatoes in Pepper Parkway. The peppers seem to be doing well in this cooler weather. We've got blossoms. I'm sure they aren't going to have time to form any long-lasting fruit, but there's still good peppers on here that are growing, still growing. And some nadapenos. I picked most of them. We have some paprika peppers. That one looks like it has a little bit of insect damage. Still quite a number of tomatoes on this side. Sad to see the cucumbers looking really bad, but there's still a few on here. We've got flowers and baby cucumbers, so I'm just letting a few go. I did pull out a number of them. Here's fall garden planting. We have spinach and lettuce going down this row, right adjacent to the sugar snap peas. There is a single blossom on this one here. That's good to see. We might at least get one pea. There we go. These are the Hungarian hearts on this side. Besides doing some garden cleanup, we're also doing some garden beautification. Wood chips down this pathway between the strawberries and the raspberries. Here is a fall harvest of raspberries. If we don't get an early frost, we may get a small amount of raspberries to harvest. Fingers crossed. These annex green beans, pole beans, are so prolific. I have been picking every day, mounds of them going into the freezer and for dinner. So pathways here. Look at these luscious pathways just full of wood chips now. I'm very happy. Pulled out, we had zucchinis, yellow squashes here up against the tomato plants. All the onions are harvested. Delicata squash is still, we have still a few. There's one in there. Just kind of letting those go for a while. And I pulled up spaghetti squash, although there's one over there still on the vine. This is where I'm going to prep this bed in a little while for garlic. Those stones are going to be moved. They were just in the pathway before. And This whole bed, I think, may be dedicated to garlic this year. But as you can see, a new addition here. We have a bamboo fence line. The bamboo was courtesy of my neighbor. She has tons and did not mind giving up any of it. But this is to keep out deer. We didn't have a problem with them this year. I was very surprised that none of them came into the garden. We have a very small, barely 3-foot high fencing along, that's the south side. I don't think it will disrupt too much of the sun because it is so light and airy. And then this is on the west side, and I don't think that will be much of a problem either. But I like it. The effect is very, very cool. I might get some more and fill it in a little bit more. This is the Kaleette. It is such a pretty plant. But as you can see, there's little tufts of leafy little greens at the intersection of the leaves and the stem. And this is what will be harvested. What I did was I cut the center off right here. And so that's forcing the growth, the lateral growth in the axis of the plant. Here's another one. They aren't quite as big as this one, but I did cut that off. Here's another one over here. Cut that center off, force. Let's see. Yeah, they're coming up. But it's such a pretty plant. And we'll see what it tastes like. Probably a cross between Brussels sprouts and kale. We'll see. We're extending our gardening season by planting more broccoli. We might be able to get some heads of broccoli here. It's under the floating roll cover to protect it from the cabbage moth. The leaves all look great. Doesn't look like there's any insect damage. So with some luck, we should be able to harvest some broccoli in a few weeks. Broccoli is a cool weather plant. It's a brassica that loves the cooler weather, and if I keep the row cover over it, it'll help retain some of the heat as well as keeping the insects out, and that will give us an additional harvest. The bean arbor is still producing. The red noodle beans, I'm waiting for them to dry, the pods dry. Some of them are. This one's a nice dry one. I'll be able to pick him in a little while. This one also. Few of these are still in the leathery stage. And if I look up here, here we have a pole bean that got a little out of hand. But this will not go to waste. The chickens will love it. But it's always still nice to come out into this arbor in the shade. We're still having some warm days. Shade and dappled sunlight is quite lovely. Here we have more blossoms from the purple pole beans. This thing is not giving up at all. There is, I don't know if you can see them, but look at all of those blossoms. The bees continue to buzz around. We're helping the pollinators in their last days of the season. So, but it is sad for a gardener to see this time of year when they know that the garden's life is numbered. You know, the days are ticking by for the killing frost. These are yellow wax beans that I'm letting go to save the seed. We have a few seed pods that are probably ready to pick. But anyway, this is what this time of year brings. And we all know that with the change of season, the leaves are changing, the garden is changing, and we're thinking ahead already till next spring. Because, as Jon Snow said, winter is coming.